Well, for crying out loud, how you guys doing? Hopefully I've got some sound. Give me some 5x5s if you can hear me. I'm here a little bit early, so I don't know if I've got anyone in the comments section yet. I am attorney Michael Ehline. As most of you know, I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in California and Texas. And I'm just trying to see if I can get a 5x5 from someone to make sure we got comms going. Okay, outstanding. Thanks, Steve. So I came on a little bit early. I was gonna make this like a full-on marathon with Brick and BZ's videos, but when I was going through Brick's videos, the audio, I couldn't get it. It was so grainy on a lot of them that I was doing tests and you just couldn't hear anything he was saying. So I grabbed the ones that had the best audio. So anybody who can donate a mic or something or help him out with his audio, we got to do that because I think he has the makings of a really great channel. And then I got a couple of BZ videos because I wanted to be fair because, we're all part of the same team. But then there were so many other crazy things going on out there, guys, that I wanted to talk about the weaponization of the U.S. military by the present administration. We're going to talk about that towards the end. And how I believe it absolutely violates the Constitution. And we're going to discuss a little bit about the no standing army in the Constitution. We're going to get into the history of that. We're going to get into the different provisions like the posse comitatus and things like that. But I also have some cool stuff on corrupt judges and corrupt cops. So it's going to be more like our standard cop watch, judge watch type stuff, as opposed to teachers unions and all that other crazy stuff that I've been doing the last couple nights. So we're getting more back into the delete laws, Chile de Castro style of videos, but with my lawyerly explanations. And so I'm really grateful that you guys all joined me tonight. It's been a rough day. I've had a really, really long day. I've been up since about 04. Didn't get to work out today, so I don't feel gung-ho like I normally do. But I definitely didn't want to miss you guys tonight. So I want to thank everyone for showing up, especially, Friends in Code, Steve Conkler, Race Gas, Jody Shiloh, and Let's OTVO, of course. Thanks for coming. And since I started the show a little early, I'm trying to give it some time to queue up and let people get into the room. So I'll do my standard kickoff now, and then we'll get into the Sheriff Grady Moorish citizens arrest warrant that they issued for him. And we'll talk about that and the legalities of that. And so what I normally do, guys, people who are just joining me for the first time, is that I try to break down interesting things that most people don't really want to talk about in a lawyerly way so you can sort of understand it. But I'll get my kickoff going and then we'll get into the show, all right? To another edition of Ask Michael Ehline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. That's right. We never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And we know that I got banned for 7 days for discussing things that the thought police don't like. So anything that you say that goes against their political party or what they like, they'll try to find a way to shadow ban you or throttle your traffic so you get less views and likes. So today we'll just go with a more moderate, traditional style of show with the mindset that we know that we need to move to a more free speech type of a situation, like maybe a Patreon or a Rumble later on down the road. So that's kind of where I'm at, guys. Because you know me as a lawyer and a real strict believer in the First Amendment, and knowing that these social media sites actually aren't really necessarily private, that can do whatever they want. They're governed under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which has been misinterpreted by many courts. And I wonder why, right? Typically by judges, part of that same party that wants to silence us and censor us. But occasionally we get some good rulings that are on point with the Constitution. And there is a case presently, I think it's before the 9th, with Jason Fick, FYK, and his Section 230 case. If it goes as I think it will, it's going to be a major game changer for all of us, because it's going to force these social media companies to stop putting their BS fact check labels and all their politicization of our speech, which they got used to because, they controlled CNN, they controlled MSNBC, they controlled Facebook, Meta. We definitely know they control Google. And so when Musk got a hold of Twitter and converted it into X, all of a sudden people had the ability to have free speech again and were able to say the other political viewpoints were allowed to be expressed. And now people like Hillary are really upset. And a lot of politicians on their side of the aisle are saying, we need to pass speech laws. We need to stop them. Whereas before they were saying, oh my gosh, it's a private company. They can do whatever they want. Now they're saying, no, we need to restrict them. We need to stop them because they don't want information to get out there that goes against their political narrative. So that's the real reason behind it. So for now, though, we'll just go with what we know works. We'll try to be neutral, I guess, because they're not going to allow, unless, of course, it supports their political viewpoint, you'll get banned from this channel, as we saw it just happened to me a couple of days ago. So, hey, what's going on, Deborah? Good seeing you. And Cops are 5150. Yes, this is a reaction video. So to get this started with, hey, Brick, right on, brother. I'm going to show a couple of your videos tonight, Brick. I wanted to show some of the stuff that you did at the balloon thing and all that, but the audio was so unclear that I just couldn't get it to work through my StreamYard. I did some tests, so I want to definitely help you work on your audio so you get more crisp audio, because I think you've got the makings of a terrific channel, Brick. Give me a bunch of ones for Brick Jonesey, guys, and please click on his profile and go and like and subscribe to his channel. He's out there hustling. He's hanging out with my buddy Letzo TVO, who hung out with me in Nevada at the courthouse when Chile was going through all of his trials and tribulations. But before we start the Sheriff Grady video, which is going to be hilarious, and this happened a while ago, but I'm a little behind. I'm kind of catching up, guy. As you know, I'm a practicing attorney. I primarily do personal injury and stuff like that, but I've done criminal defense and appellate work. But my love is government accountability operations, holding the government accountable, because they're so out of control. They're just getting away with murder, technically, literally. And so we really need to hold their feet to the fire. And I think that filming and auditors, even though some of them come off like jerks or whatever, I don't really care. The police and the government need to be held accountable, and they're doing God's work by going out there and filming and pointing out the travesties of justice that are being committed on a daily basis in this country. So the first thing I want you guys all to do whenever I do a video, if you could, I'm not begging you or I'm not commanding you, because we all have free will on my channel, is type in the sidebar that this is a reaction video. And then also, Chili and I are having a lot of problems with people being able to like and comment on our short videos. So please, when you have time, hopefully today before you forget, or even during the show, open up a second window and go and like and go and try to comment on some of my recent shorts and some of my older ones too, to see if you can do it, because we've been doing it and we're being blocked. So we believe we're being shadow banned. Now, remember that the thought police have hit this channel pretty hard. So please make sure to also press that little square saved for later viewing button, because that's one of the best ways to show the Google gods that you like my channel. And then obviously when you're driving, when you're out on the road, if you're a long haul trucker, I try to do my videos at least an hour, sometimes 2 or 3. So I give you plenty of good material to listen to, so you don't have to listen to the Communist News Network and PMSNBC and all the radio stations now that have been taken over by George Soros, thanks to basically a mutiny against our country by these board members of the I think it's called the SEC, the people who govern FCC, the people who govern the radio waves. Soros was able to basically, I believe, unlawfully acquire all these radio stations. So you'll probably never have a station like Rush Limbaugh ever again on the radio. It's all just going to be Marxist, leftist propaganda, like all the other news channels. So at least on my channel, you get the real deal. You get a recovering Democrat, now libertarian, former U.S. Marine who believes in God, guns, and guts, and love of country above all else, and opening doors for ladies and the elderly. Always remember that I believe in civility and honoring your family, your elders, and especially the women who bring the givers of life, those women who bring life into this world. So, but obviously I want to, let me get up a little bit closer to my screen, because as you guys know, I have the eyesight of a gopher, and I've got my cool blue blue blocker glasses. These are called Gunners. These are the Razor edition. They're gamer glasses, but I wear them because you guys can destroy your eyes. And no, I'm not endorsing this company. I'm just telling you that because I care about people, that if you're in front of a computer a lot, especially your children, you should always be wearing blue light blocking glasses, because you can literally destroy your eyes, believe it or not, guys, especially children. It's just so bad. So always wear blue light glasses. Thanks, Let's So TVO. Thanks for all your comments. Right on, Brick Jonesy. Yeah, I kind of got that. I just wish that you had more content that had good audio, because I wanted to do some cool stuff, but I got enough. I got enough for tonight, and we can always talk later, brother. And because I love doing attorney breakdowns. And as you guys know, Brick Jonesy and Let's So TVO are some of the very few people who stood tall for Chile when everybody else was dumping on him, saying, oh, he's going down. But we ended up getting his case reversed on appeal, thanks to all of our prayers and our donations and helping him find a really good appellate lawyer. So I'm super grateful for that. Clowning around, I really appreciate you saying that I do a good job. I don't know if you're clowning around or not. And Deborah Newby, thank you as well. I just try to bring you guys a different perspective about the world, because we're always only one generation away from losing our constitutional republic. And notice I didn't say democracy. That's a word that's been used by Marxist college professors to try and convince you that America is a democracy. All of our founding fathers spoke against democracy as something that is self-destructive. Democracy is when two wolves and a sheep show up for dinner and decide what's on the menu. In a republic, two wolves and a well-armed sheep show up for dinner and decide what's on a menu. Big difference. The rights of the individual are paramount in a republic. The rights of the mob or the rights of the group are paramount in a democracy. So don't believe anything the Marxist-run college campus crusaders tell you in their safe spaces. These are political re-education camps and nothing more, where you send good quality children and young adults to school, and they come out with blue hair, hating their country, burning American flags and waving Palestinian flags, in my opinion. So I'm going to get the show started. Hopefully I gave you guys some laughs. Look, sometimes I'm kind of like, laughing a little bit inside, but you guys know where I'm coming from. So I'm going to just real quick get into the first video, because I just think it's hilarious. And I saw this morning when I was waking up, and I just got a kick out of it. I love this guy. This guy used to be a shot caller, I guess, in upstate Oregon in the prison system. And now he does these reaction videos, and he is hilarious. He's super funny. I don't even know his name, but if you know his name, put it in the sidebar. Let's just watch this video and start laughing.
I have filed an arrest warrant for me. An arrest warrant for me.
So a group of sovereign citizens have filed a $1 million arrest warrant for Sheriff Grady Judd of Polk County, Florida. And they're not an official law enforcement agency, so they've done this under the authority of the Association of Gay Furry Tweakers, who've been up for 8 days on crystal meth. Yo, do me a favor, y'all. When you go to try to serve that warrant, film it. Film it. Post it to the internet. Let us see what happens. My personal bet is that y'all are going to end up with enough holes in or around your chest area that we're going to be able to read a newspaper through you. Try it, though. Do it. If you don't do it, there ain't a man in your family. There ain't a hair on your body. Sheriff Grady Judd, he's John Wick with jowls. That old bird dog right there is Chuck Norris incarnate. He going to ruin your whole day, bro. I can't wait. Just make sure to film it, because honestly, I need to see that. I need that in my life.
They have filed an arrest warrant for me.
I just think that's hilarious. So before I get into the next video, it's more of Sheriff Grady. We're just going to talk a little bit about what's going on here. All right. With the sovereign citizen movement and the arrest warrant situation. As you guys know, I used to dabble in this stuff back in the 90s. I met some of the original freemen of Montana. And I knew a lot, especially in Orange County and San Bernardino County. I was part of that group that was always out there driving around with the British West Indies license plates and fighting traffic tickets and beating them all the time, by the way, using administrative procedures, using Penal Code Section 9, and then getting defaults against the city commissioner administratively and having cases dismissed. And so I know that statutory law can be defeated, but that's another discussion for another day. I also know that if you try to fight the system, you end up in jail. So I think the best way to fight the system is to engage the system and then try and form parallel systems within the system, like we're doing right now on this show, without ending up in jail. Because if you're in jail, you're not going to do any good to anybody. You're not going to do any good to your wife, your kids, your family. Instead, they're just going to be worried to death about you. But really quick, let's get into what's going on with this common law court system and understanding what's going on with these Moorish guys. So basically, the sovereign citizen movement it's been going on for a long time. I think it's probably predates the 80s when it was 80s and 90s when it was really big. But eventually the blacks got into it, black people, and they call themselves like the Moorish sovereign citizens. And they're sort of an offshoot, and they're extremely violent. And apparently one of these guys killed a couple of cops, and I guess Grady went after these guys, these Moorish sovereigns, one of the guys who shot him, and in response, his group filed a common law arrest warrant against him. And I'm not going to get into whether or not common law arrest warrants are legal or not. I think they're probably lawful, but we operate, unfortunately, now in a statutory system, and the people with the guns and the power are the ones who control it. So it's kind of pointless to argue about it, right, guys? But let's get into it really quick. So the legality of a common law court issuing an arrest warrant against Sheriff Grady or any other official depends on several factors: jurisdiction and authority. Common law courts operate in the traditional sense, do not exist in the modern legal framework of most countries, including the United States. Today's judicial systems operate under statutory law, where the courts are established by legislation and have defined jurisdictions and powers. And then number two, legitimacy of the court. If you're referring to a form of community or citizens tribunal that might call itself a common law court, such entities generally lack legal standing or authority to issue legally enforceable warrants. Real legal authority to issue an arrest warrant comes from statutorily recognized courts, like I was saying. And so like a state or federal court in the US. And so this, I'm just telling you, the people with the guns have the power, and this is what they say, okay? You can have your own interpretation, and you can believe that it's BS, and I think I would probably join you in those feelings. But the problem is you'll be arguing about it in jail. Now, the sheriff's legal status would be issue number 3. Sheriffs are law enforcement officers with specific legal protections and jurisdictions. For any legal action against a sheriff, especially an arrest warrant, it would typically need to come from a court with proper jurisdiction and due process, not from an unofficial or self-proclaimed court. All right. So the process for legal action number 4, if there are allegations against Sheriff Grady, the proper legal route would involve reporting to an official law enforcement body or filing a complaint through recognized legal channels, which would lead to an investigation and possibly a court-issued warrant, like a judge would issue a warrant, right? If sufficient evidence is found. Now, there's a hypothetical scenario that I'm also going to give you. If somehow a common law court managed to issue what it calls a warrant, law enforcement agencies would not recognize it. That's the problem that these guys are facing. And because of that, it wouldn't have any legal validity. So only warrants issued by courts with statutory authority are enforceable. Now, you can give me a bunch of 1s if you agree that's fair. Give me a bunch of 2s if you agree it's not, because I'd like to see where the audience is. And you don't have to out yourself. I'm just curious how the audience feels. Most of you guys know that this is a nonpartisan type of a show. I have Republicans, Democrats. I don't care. All I care about is that if you guys are in my channel, that you're respectful, especially to the ladies. No name calling to the girls. Leave them alone. Your words hurt just as bad as a fist punch would in the face. So just keep it civil. That's all I care about. But yeah, everybody on my channel, they all get along. We're all buddies, and I help people whenever I can. I got a call today from somebody who watches my channel out of the blue who needs some help. And just because I may not be able to help them, I'm going to try to find somebody who can, because that's what I do. Kind of like The Equalizer. Remember him? The old TV series, The Equalizer. I try to help people. Robert McCall, that kind of thing. So let's get a little bit into this video now of this next video. And now this is David Stern News did this one, and it's a 20-minute video. So I don't have time, guys, tonight to play all these videos. That's why I'm only sharing a couple of Brick and a couple of BZs because they're really long. So I found the shortest ones because, you know, I like to stop and react and give my 2 cents and ask people in the sidebar questions. So it doesn't always work out the way that y'all want it to, but we're going to have a good time anyways. And let's just watch what this dude's saying, because a lot, love him or hate him, Sheriff Grady is he is a Florida sheriff. I'm not sure what county he's in. If you guys know, put it in the sidebar for me, please. And let's just listen to what this guy has to say.
For me, an arrest warrant for me.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with me today. We're going to go over this entire event and then bring you up to speed with what we know now that certainly we didn't have the details of the other night. First and foremost, I want to introduce you to 2 heroes. This is Lieutenant Chad Anderson and Deputy Craig Smith.
All right. So these 2 dudes these 2 guys ended up getting shot by one of these Moorish sovereign citizen guys. I want to lay the foundation so we can keep rolling the footage. So I'm going to bring it up to the section where he starts talking about this dude, just to save us time. The one dude on the left looks like he's got some military ribbons that aren't just police ones. Can't quite tell, but I think I see National Defense. I don't know. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys notice that. But let me just get over to the section that starts talking about this Moorish guy. All right, here we go.
But we don't publish them because we don't want to market for them. But let me read something to you for just a second. This is an example. Now, here's his ID card, and this is a sample of a card that he had, so that when they want to hand it to you, he didn't, it would say, and you'll get the mindset, this is a valid and lawful form of identification. See United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, Articles 2 and 33, Section 1. You're being put on notice that any unlawful act against an indigenous Yahindum Moor is a federal crime, and you will be fined $750,000 or more. Any violation of my rights, well-being, or property is your express agreement to be held officially and privately liable for $750,000 for each violation of the bearer's rights in each capacity. If detaining the bearer, you also expressly agree to the fee schedule of $90,000 per hour. Upon any unlawful detainment and violation of the bearer's right, payment is due immediately in lawful money. So you get an idea.
He doesn't seem too happy,
of
does
what
he?
we're dealing with when we're dealing with these Moorish sovereign citizens. They're dangerous, and you don't know when. There's been other occasions.
Well, hold on a minute.
Where
it sounds to me like he's describing your friendly neighborhood police officer, right? They're dangerous, but you just don't know when, right? So look, I'm not suggesting that it's justified, that it was justified for this guy to shoot these 2 cops. I don't know all the facts. I only know the facts that are presented by the administrative state. So we'll never know the full truth. But the idea is I wanted you to see that there are still groups out there that believe that they have sovereignty. I don't know enough about the Moorish. I know that they claim that, or I've heard, strike that, I've heard that they claim that they're indigenous people, and they believe that Black people are actually indigenous to the United States. And I don't know that there is any evidence that would support that, but if there is, I'd love to see it. My personal philosophy is that we're all human beings and we're all indigenous to the planet. And wherever you decide to settle at some time or another, someone else is going to be there. And that's just the way it's always been throughout history. The Native Americans were at war with each other constantly. In fact, the conquistadors, the only reason why they were able to conquer is because they got the other tribes that hated the Aztecs, for example, to fight for them with promises of riches and stuff. And that's how they were able to conquer parts of Mexico and establish Mexico City, right? We know that. We know that the other tribes that hated the stronger tribes aligned themselves with the conquistadors, and they formed alliances. There were only, a couple of hundred conquistadors, right? I mean, think about it. So the modern version of history that they teach in the Marxist-run education system is not the true history of this country. It's basically a bunch of people who hate America, and they're Marxists, and they teach these things, and they brainwash these young kids to believe it. That's why you see American kids now burning American flags and waving Palestinian flags, because they've been conditioned by the administrative state to believe that. So I just wanted you to see that. That was just, I saw that video this morning. I kind of got a kick out of it. So I just wanted you to see that somebody issued an arrest warrant for Sheriff Grady. Now, this next video I'm going to show you is Brick being arrested again. And I think this is the video that probably, and Brick's actually here. Let me see. He's made some comments. Brick says, one county south of Levi, both are incredibly corrupt. So I guess that's where the sheriff is. And then Brick says, Grady publicizes arrest before conviction, claiming people are criminals. Yeah, that's not good. That is not good, because I believe that taints the jury. And then Levi County Sheriff's Deputy Gregory Chase told him that the county is not subject to the U.S. Constitution, on the record. I'm sure that Polk County is no different. Wow, that's crazy that a law enforcement officer would tell you that. But look, I believe it. I mean, they're letting illegal aliens become police now, right? They're here on temporary protective service. People who literally enter the country illegally now get to carry a gun and a badge, and they know nothing about our Constitution. See, the legal immigration system allows people to come in legally. They have to know about the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights. They learn a little bit of pride about the American Revolution, how we're different from other countries. But instead, this new generation of illegals, they get free phones, free hotels, free everything, and now they're even letting them be cops. So a lot of people thought it was going to be the United Nations that was the downfall of this country, like UN blue helmets would come in. But now they're saying it's probably going to be that we're going to be replaced by illegal alien police forces. And then towards the end of the video, we're going to talk about this new law that they're using, this new, I guess, executive order that the Harris administration is going to use, where they're going to use the military, and they're giving them orders to kill on sight of anybody who resists, I guess, after this next election. So we're going to talk about that in the end. But this is Brick Jonesey's video. It's going to be about 3 minutes. Hopefully you guys will like it.
I've committed no crime. You two need to leave. I've committed no crime. You two need to leave. Go get a warrant. Go get a warrant. You're under arrest, man. Hey, okay. On your back. Okay, on your belly. Get on your belly. Problem. Get on your belly now. Okay. On your belly. Okay. Just don't hurt me. I got a broken thumb. I got a broken thumb. Okay. I got a broken thumb. Okay. Just don't hurt me. I got a broken thumb. Okay, I got a broken thumb. On your belly. I got a broken thumb. Don't hurt me. I've committed no crime. You two need to leave. I've committed no crime. You two need to leave. Go get a warrant. Okay, don't hurt me. I got a broken thumb. Okay, don't hurt me. I got a broken thumb.
I don't know what's going on here. It looks like I lost the. Hold on, guys. We got a problem here. Houston, we got a problem. I was playing the Brick Jonesey video, and then it disappeared on me. Well, that sucks. I had the Brick Jonesey video up where he was getting arrested. Oh, no, it's still going. Look, we're going to play it again. Brick, sorry about that, brother. We're going to play this again, and I'm going to try to give this some context. So from what I know about what happened here, I guess these cops showed up at where Brick lives. And Brick, you can correct me in the sidebar. Oh, it's not your channel? I thought this was your channel. Hold on a minute, man. It says Brick Jonesey arrested. Well, this is definitely your video, ain't it? I mean, thought it was. Well, this is, hold on a second, Brick. Man, I got all this stuff queued up. Well, either way, this is a Brick Jonesey video, and I want to give you guys some narrative. So my understanding is that these cops, oh, it's Brick Audits. Crap. So, man, we got to, well, I'm going to show it. I'm going to show it anyways because it looks, oh, it's a troll channel. I don't want to show that one. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to just move off of that because that's a troll channel. But this is definitely a Brick Jonesey video right here. Right, Brick? I want to make sure you see this. And forgive me, Brick, I have been up since super early this morning. I am running on like gas fumes for reals, bro. So I know this one's yours because it says Brick Jonesey right here. So guys, we're going to watch this one. Let me just clean up my screen here for y'all. All right. So this is a video where here's what it says. This is a reminder that we are still waiting for on our records request from 3 weeks ago. I will be releasing an update just after this. These records should have been produced. These records should have been produced within 15 business days. So what I'm recognizing out of this video is that Brick and Let's OTVO, I guess some cop showed up at Let's OTVO's place and he's not a happy camper and he wants to find out why. So they're doing a public records request. Well, what ended up happening is this. Should be playing. I think it's playing. There we go.
Yes, I had 2 officers show up at my home on Friday. There's an incident number. I'm trying to get the reason they were at my home. And I have I made the pictures of the card, and of course we called the supervisor.
Thanks, Brick. Sorry, dude.
And
Exhausted, man.
I still don't have any straight answers. I basically made the officers look foolish. Like, what are you doing here knocking on my door?
Okay. Is there another number on that card, or is it just this long?
Just that one, because I have a supervisor who gave me a card afterwards, and then I have one of the responding officers.
For the incident, can we have, because there would be body cam, can we have body cam sent?
Hey, Rami, good seeing you, brother.
Any body cam footage, but that is available to you. You would just have to request it from these guys.
All right.
Yeah, here's the video I'm watching right now. I'm dropping it.
I noticed that outside that your officer complaint box didn't have any forms in it.
Good seeing you, Rami.
Well, I only have cards on the supervisor and one of the responding officers. Is there a way that you could tell me who the other responding officer was? So that
Now, mind you, she's probably a little spooked because Let's OTVO, when I met him, I'd say the guy's got to be pretty close to 7 foot tall. And he's former Navy, so he's got that military bearing. And typically he wears, I think, a hat that says U.S. Navy, if I'm not mistaken, or veteran, right, Brick? So she's probably a little intimidated by him. But she seems like she's being nice so far. He's just trying to figure out how to get these records to find out who these cops are that showed up at his house.
I can make the formal complaint? Because he was probably the most unprofessional of the bunch, but that's beside the point.
So here's the CPO. What is the officer's name that you do have?
I have Officer Barella.
Okay.
And I have his supervisor, Officer Martinez, Armin.
Yeah, he is.
The first one that you mentioned might be the one that wrote the report.
So Brick says this stems from a driver's license issue from New Hampshire.
Right.
So that's what this is about. I guess they're showing up at the house to try to find out about a driver's license issue.
Right. So that's not the third gentleman's name.
Okay, so I don't have that information.
Oh, hell yeah. Right on, Star. Star Khaleesi, love it. Thank you for your service. My dad didn't pay 9 years. Nuclear submarines.
Received from Florida's dispatch.
Okay, so that might be
That's cool.
I cannot provide you with any more details other than what I've already provided you.
On this slip that you gave us, there is an address here.
That's got to be Brick.
That address.
Is that you, Brick?
the location where, what's the location? What is the location?
What do you mean? What is the location?
Is it a building I can go to and talk to someone like yourself, or is it just a place where there's a phone
I
that
don't
nobody
know,
can?
because that's a whole different department and a whole different building.
Because it seems like this is the place that we're supposed to go to get these records.
For a police report, yes. For lapel footage, no.
Yeah, it's always a problem when trying to get public records. And even for me as a lawyer, they always give you the runaround. Give me a bunch of ones if you're sick and tired of always getting the runaround when you go to an administrative agency. They never want to help you. They always send you to the other place. And ultimately, you find out that the place you went to begin with was the right place.
So again, you have to go there. I don't know their process because it's a different, they're in a whole different building. Their building is just a couple of blocks east. You're more than welcome to go over there.
I'm with you guys. I've been there, man.
After the,
I wasn't always a lawyer, and it's still not easy being a lawyer. Still pull the same nonsense.
They have to make sure that there's no errors within the report. And they'll be the ones to sign off. And then we can, once they sign off,
Then you'll get
then
it.
we can release it.
How do
see
we go
that?
about obtaining the officer's disciplinary record, jacket kind of
That
stuff?
is gonna be again through, the city clerk, that top slip.
The top slip. So it looks like this top slip's going to be my next stop. I don't know what the proper term for it is in Albuquerque or New Mexico. It's like the Freedom of Information Act.
Hey guys, look, I'm sorry that you had to go through with this. Let me tell you, like when you want to sue, like for example, when Caltrans or one of these government agencies causes damage and one of my clients gets run over or killed, or debris flies off one of their trucks, if you file with the wrong agency on the wrong form, your client could lose their case. So it's a big deal, and lawyers commit malpractice all the time. So don't feel like it's just y'all, it's everybody.
Where you're like an administrator, you give me information if you've got it. Are you able to take them orally? Or
As far as the complaint, or what do you?
a request for the information, for example? I guess you're directing me to all other places to get the
That's right.
information. So you're more like the clearinghouse to send people on the way, or?
So we typically here just would give you, again, police reports. All the other departments, there's departments for those requests.
Yeah,
You're gonna wanna, that little slip I gave you, they're gonna give you probably more information than what we have here to provide you.
Getting the runaround,
I
man.
was just over at the
Wow.
police station there. I don't remember the address. And they gave me this little piece of paper. When I go there to get the records, it took her 10 minutes. When she came back, she says, well, we don't have the records yet if nobody's filed the report. I want to get, I don't know if I can get the whole jacket, but I want, name, salary.
Absolutely,
date of
Rami.
employment,
This video is exposing tyranny and extortion.
asking for any and all information associated with this particular case number, incident numbers, because there's two different numbers I have now. That's one thing she gave me. And the other number was the number was on the back of the business card that he gave me.
Wow. They're just bouncing you guys all around town.
Yeah.
Look, I had a similar incident when I went to complain about the West Covina cop that beat me up over a parking ticket back in like 96. The desk sergeant came out and they didn't want, first of all, this gal at the front desk was telling, go sit down. I'll come and I'll tell, why do you want a complaint form? Tell me who you're complaining against. I'm like, I don't have to tell you anything, lady. She's like, go sit down. I'm not going to sit down. You don't tell me what to do. My case had finally been dismissed. So now it was time for me to make my complaints and file my civil rights lawsuit. You never want to do it until your criminal charges get thrown out. That's the problem. But I had a real similar thing happen. The sergeant comes out, throws all these complaints out and starts telling me how all these cops have died and look at these memorials. And I was like, why don't you build a memorial to all the people that they've killed unlawfully? And he got super mad and ran back and slammed the door. So I know exactly where you guys are coming from. It's terrible what you guys are suffering over there.
I have two of the names, the supervisor and one of the officers who's maybe was the their name.
Right, AB. I agree with you, bro.
Date of service, salary,
ID number.
Yeah, I
number.
definitely want to
I
see
gotta
more.
Put it on a separate thing for you.
That's OTV. I want to see more.
Sir, go ahead and put your name, address, phone number, email.
Well, I don't need to give up my Fourth Amendment right to get this information. I can just give you an email address.
That's right. Yeah, as long as I have an email, I'm fine.
And their disciplinary record also on those three.
There would have been a call that would have been made according to their words. Some type of call.
Yeah. Like I said, thank you very much, ma'am. I'm not an expert at this, but some of these guys are really good.
Hey, nobody's an expert at this because they obfuscate and they delay and they deny and defend. Nobody's an expert. Don't worry, guys. Bzwatchdog is probably better than anyone else that I've ever met at getting these public records.
Update you in the portal and via email.
Let me move it forward. Okay, so that's the music part. Okay, because I don't want to get hit for some copyright thing. They do that all the time, guys, with this music. I'm already worried about that frauditor one with that damn music that came on. So the next one's going to be your favorite psychopathic cop watcher, Marine extraordinaire, Bzwatchdog. Give me a bunch of ones for BZ. Now, by the way, y'all, go and make sure to like and subscribe to Brick Jonesey's channel. Someone please drop it in the sidebar, the comment bar there, and give me a bunch of ones for one of the very first audits that I've ever seen of Let's OTVO in. I think that's pretty cool, man. And let me tell you guys, don't get frustrated. Keep fighting the good fight and stay after the task. You know, I became a lawyer with no law degree and no undergrad, and it was a Herculean task, but I did it. The point is, if you stick to your guns and you fight for what you believe in, eventually you will prevail because you have God on your side, because you have the righteous glory of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution on your side. And that being said, also, look, anybody who wants to give me a super chat or anybody who wants to make a donation to the channel, I'll always put your comments at the front of the line. But if you really want to support my channel in the mission of Team MPE, this is the way you can do it. Buy a digital version of this. This is a soft cover that I still have not gotten a good price on in order to mass produce. But you can buy the digital version of this ebook. And this is my journey to becoming a practicing lawyer with no law degree or undergrad. And all you have to do is go to my YouTube homepage. If someone can drop that in the sidebar for me, please. And then just click on the drop down, the description. You'll see a PayPal link. Now, I had another person reach out today and ask me if they could pay for this with Venmo. I'm trying to get my wife or one of my kids to help me set that up because I'm clueless when it comes to that. But for $19.99, you can get the digital version of this book. And this is my journey to becoming a practicing lawyer with no law degree or undergrad. And I cover how I did it, the different states that offer similar programs. I did mine in California on the California State Bar Law Office Study Program. But it would mean a lot to me, any support that you can give my channel, because I have a regular day job that I have to do. I start at about 4 a.m. Sometimes I get a chance to go to the gym, but it's really rough. I mean, I'm exhausted right now, guys, but I'm doing this because I feel like a need to be able to share my information with you people and to let you know that there are lawyers out there who aren't just your typical run-of-the-mill college-educated jerks that just kind of treat you like you're second-class citizens. I grew up in construction, owned a bunch of small businesses, ended up becoming Rodney Dangerfield's chauffeur with my limousine company, and helped start a couple of health clubs, actually owned a few health clubs. And so I'm an entrepreneur, and I just happened to get my law license for a lot of reasons. But how it all started was me getting beat up by Officer Millison at the city of West Covina when I was loading up my Jeep Cherokee in front of the Bally's Total Fitness. I was the corporate wellness director, and I was loading my car, and I gave the guy a hard time, asking him for his badge and all that. And he ended up pulling me out of my car and beating me up, and I ended up suing him. He charged me with resisting, obstructing, delaying under Penal Code Section 148. I beat those charges. I ended up suing him, and I got $29,999. And back then, that would be equivalent to close to $100,000 nowadays. So it was pretty good for a young lad who was an inactive, honorably discharged U.S. Marine who was service-connected disabled. So it's a pretty cool story, and I love sharing it. And I ended up writing that book that kind of takes you on the journey that I took, so you could learn how to find a lawyer to study under and all that good stuff. So hopefully you guys like it, and hopefully you guys enjoy my channel. Make sure to double tap the screen too, guys. Double tap that screen. Oh, and by the way, to help me with monetization, watch the commercials, guys. Like when they play a commercial, watch the commercial. That helps me support my family. So anything you can do to help me support my family makes it a lot easier for me to bring these videos to you, because my wife does not like it that I spend so much time doing these videos. So she took my son to judo tonight. God bless her soul. When I don't do these videos, I'm either helping the kids with homework or I'm taking my son to judo. So give me a bunch of ones for my wife for helping out too. Now let's check out what Bzwatchdog's got to say. I love Bzwatchdog's videos. Sometimes he comes off obnoxious or whatever, but he's my brother. He's a Marine. So, you know, we're part of a brotherhood, and you gotta support your brothers.
All right, guys. I don't usually normally do one of those intros like this, but in this case, I got stopped the other day in the Tesla. The good old red Tesla guy. I actually got stopped for the first time in over 2 years. I was in Arlington, Texas, on my way to pick up a ride. As most of you know, I do drive Uber. I drive a Tesla where I have approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cameras on the vehicle exterior. I got pulled over for what I thought maybe was speeding, 43, 45 and a 40.
Hey, Jess Willie, good seeing you, bud.
And it may not even been a 40. I went back and looked at the footage. I couldn't find a speed limit sign for well over a mile. As I came into a 40, that's when I looked at my speed limit, saw ahead that there was a cop, started to slow down. And you can see in the video, as I'm getting ready to show the video clip here from the Tesla, you see that I'm passing the police officer, and then he makes a beeline. You turn behind me.
Cool, man. I'm glad you showed up.
If you notice, he's in the middle of the median road, no turn signal, no safety lights, no hazards, no emergency lights, no nothing. In other words, he shouldn't be in the middle of the road just sitting there without any kind of warning indicators on that he's in that middle lane, because that is actually technically a middle median for you to turn. As that happens, my heart starts racing because I'm like, wow, what did I do? Really? 3, 5 over the speed limit? Maybe. What is this cop doing? I know there's a bolo out on my vehicle. I'm usually filming the cops at my safe distance, at my discretion. I'm not being detained. However, on this day of this next video clip, you're going to see I was actually detained. So you didn't get a great image of us during the conversation. However, you can hear the conversation.
Don't ever say I was detained. If you're held against your will, you say, I am under arrest. I am not free to leave. Don't let them be able to use that stupid detention thing. That's not constitutional. You're either arrested or you're not.
Between the officer and I, as the stream's going, and you can see from the Tesla, the video footage that he's standing at my driver's side door. Now, this is why it's important to always film the police. It's always important that if you can, either rig up your vehicle with dash cameras, or in this case, drive a Tesla where you have the exterior cameras that can catch everything, because this would exonerate anything that I would have done I have requested the body cam and dash cam. The officer's name is C. Town. So I don't know what the C stands for. Could be Curtis, could be Charlie, could be Chuck, could be all kinds of names. So I'm requesting that. I've already requested for all disciplinary action. I felt like I was in the twilight zone on this one because this stop went a little different than what you and I normally would think that this stop would go. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into this video. I'm going to do a little voiceover and narration up until the time that we get into the actual audio that took place on the live stream. And I'm going to go ahead and roll that footage now.
Get your popcorn, guys. Oh, that is awesome. That was great.
So here we go. We got Officer Towns, who's actually right there in the middle of the median, sees me, flips a U-turn with some cherries and berries, comes after me, flying up on my rear end, and I turn right. I go up here to the next intersection and turn right with my hazards on while I'm getting my live stream ready. That way I'm in a safe spot for this officer. So I probably continued for about a quarter of a mile. And
hey, give me a bunch of ones for BZ, always thinking on his feet like a true Marine. Give me a bunch of ones. Give me a bunch of Semper Fi's or a bunch of USMCs, if you could, for my buddy Brick Jonesey. And make sure to type in the channel there in the sidebar, this is a reaction video, please, so the thought police don't try to figure out a way to ban me.
And you see me go ahead and pull in, and this is where he gets out and immediately realizes that he made a mistake. Now, I've already requested for the dash cam and the body cam footage, so I will update you after we get this footage. But in the meantime, go ahead and enjoy this encounter where he messed up and catches it quickly.
So, Officer Towns, please run us your license and your insurance. Okay. Actually, I don't need it. You need to take that one out of the window.
Do you have a pocket knife I can borrow? Because I didn't want to pull it because it was going to take the other sticker off.
Oh, is it?
Yes, that's the only reason I didn't pull it. I've never had an issue. This is a rental vehicle.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when they had that put on, I was trying to take it. You can see where I tried to take it off.
Yeah.
And it started ripping that right there.
Okay. Will the other one peel down any?
We could try it. I just didn't want to rip it.
Dude.
Was that the reason for the stop?
Whoever edited this is a god.
Hey, and you know what? I'm not going to give you a hard time because in the spirit of the law, you know, I know that's how the court decides. It's an honest mistake.
Hey, nice footage of the cop's crotch, BZ. Good job.
And I will toss that up and.
Yeah, I saw.
Good job,
I saw
Ronnie.
two there, but again,
I get you honest mistake.
At the speed at the speeds that you're passing me, I saw 324. The other one could have been 323 or 325.
I understand.
So.
I understand. And are you giving me a card on this?
I have to.
Okay. And
you're not required to do anything with that. You can read over it. You can throw it in the trash.
okay, Officer Towns, right?
Yes, sir.
And
that's my badge number on there. Yeah. If I wrote you a ticket, all of this info would be at the bottom of the citation.
okay,
But since I'm not writing you a ticket again, I saw 324, but the vehicle's obviously registered till March of 25.
honest mistake. You caught it.
Yes,
I appreciate.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Any questions for me?
No, sir. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Drive safe, be careful.
Thank you, sir.
You saw the camera rolling, right? That's probably exactly what happened. Great job editing, Rami.
All right, guys. I got pulled over. Oh yeah, he saw the camera roll and he let me go. He screwed up. He was going to try to get me. Anyways, it was an honest mistake. He saw 2 registration stickers, came up, saw it, and wrote me the card and realized his mistake. I didn't even get a chance to invoke my 5th. He turned around and said he made a mistake before I even got that out. So you know what? I didn't want to beat him up too bad for him catching his mistake.
we're going to go ahead and close out today's video on this traffic stop. Like I said, this was just a weird one for me. I've never had an officer demand ID and then go ahead and tell me that he doesn't need ID.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Notice I have a different shirt on. I'm in a different vehicle. I've swapped out some things because it's been a few days since I did that first intro, the traffic stop, such. There's a few things in the video that were pointed out. What I like you to do is not only hit that like and subscribe button, I'd like you to go ahead and leave a comment down below on what you think about the things that we pointed out in this video to raise questions. I want to see what you guys are thinking and share this across your social media platforms. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And we have a little brownie cam.
Oh, that's
Brownie,
cool,
tell
man.
everybody bye-bye.
Brownie.
Brownie. Brownie. Tell them bye. Tell them bye-bye. Tell them. All right. Good boy.
Cool.
That being said, guys, peace.
Right on for BZ. Great video. Great editing, man. Outstanding editing. We got another one from BZ. This one should be a little bit more exciting, I think. Let's check it out.
Oop, not good. Those red things on the screen probably meant warrant.
I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I'm turning the music down. There we go. Because the thought police will get you for anything now, guys. It's just crazy.
Torture cuffs are on.
Oh, thanks, Rami.
Torture cuffs are always torture.
Thank God, man.
Torture cuffs are good.
TCAT, guys. Hashtag TCAT. Torture cuffs are always torture.
They sure are. I've represented more than my fair share of clients who have suffered amputations and permanent nerve damage from those torture.
And the person arrested is Ishmael Cruz Galindo. This is his arrest report. As you can see, he had a mugshot taken and everything over simply no driver's license, insurance, and registration. As you can see, the charges here.
Wow, look at that.
These do not construe of any jail time as a Class C misdemeanor. These are strictly just fines. I looked up the fines, and all three of these come out to about $835 total.
It's all about revenue collection, guys. Even the name charges, that means a charge. They're charging you money. It's all about raising revenue. In fact, when a new municipal corporation is going to be founded by someone, one of the first things they do is they look at how much money will the police department be able to generate in revenue from traffic fines, DUI arrests. And that's why you see a lot of these corrupt cops planting drugs, planting weapons, right? Because they know that's going to generate more income, more charges, right? Charges, right? And then, or bail, right? It's all commerce. It's all Admiralty Maritime. Bail you out, bail the water out, bail charges. It's all commerce. The whole system is based on commerce. Check out some Jordan Maxwell videos sometime, and you guys will know what I'm talking about.
Which is complete extortion. Now, looking at this, to get insurance, depending if it's full coverage or not, a lot of times you need the VIN number or pictures of the vehicle and the mileage, which obviously he doesn't have the vehicle anymore because it was impounded. Next thing he needs is registration. But unfortunately, you need proof of insurance and a state inspection in the state of Texas to be able to go down to the Department of Motor Vehicles and register the vehicle. So he's not able to comply with all this. And according to the Texas transportation code here, or the TRC, the Texas Revised Code, it states it allows you to get this all done within 20 days before your court date, so you're able to get these fines reduced or thrown out, because these are more so fix-it tickets,
Right.
except for maybe the expired driver's license or no driver's license. But that doesn't warrant any jail time. It's simply a fine. And this is just completely extortion, because now they're trying to take $835 out of this man. If he doesn't show up for court, then there's more money with warrants, and there's 3 different warrants out for his arrest for these charges, not to mention his car was impounded and he no longer has his vehicle to be able to get this stuff handled, or transportation back and forth to and from work, home, and other emergency essential things he needs to take care of.
You know, I see an interesting comment in the sidebar from Dakota, and I want to touch on this because, you know, we just had the Chevron case. The U.S. Supreme Court decide that the ATF can't just like de facto make up stupid rules. And of course, we know the ATF is basically run by a bunch of commies, right? Like Obama holdovers. In fact, ATF literally is translated to mean always think forfeiture, because that's all these guys think about. How can they get forfeiture of your firearms license? How can they shut down this gun store? These people, in my opinion, are just basically criminals with badges. But you see that with the Chevron case, that the Supreme Court made it pretty clear that administrative agencies just can't make up laws, right? But yet Dakota makes a really, really intelligent comment, and that is that only the DMV requires that, and they're not a government agency. So I don't know about Texas, but I do know that, yes, you're right. Certain DMVs will just make up rules and they'll be enforced by courts. But most of the vehicle code does come from the legislature, right? So that would be an argument you could make, though, if the DMV made up its own rule or its own penalty assessment, that should be unenforceable. That should be unconstitutional pursuant to this latest Chevron case that came out. Give me a bunch of comments in the sidebar if you guys know more about that.
The state has imposed these fines, and on top of the extortion, the court decides they're going to take $81 for every additional ticket. That's crazy.
It is crazy. And by the way, guys, give a bunch of ones to BZ. This dude literally did all these public records requests and did all this research. That's why I keep telling you guys, BZ's the only guy I know who really is on top of his game when it comes to public records requests. Is a lawyer. If I needed to get a public records request, he's the guy that I would go to before I would pay thousands of dollars to some lawyer who really doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, they can inventory your car, but nothing they find can be used against you. It's just an inventory. They need a warrant to search the car.
Oh, but he's going to search it anyways. All right.
And so he'll be transporting the effects and the inventory with the person they just arrested.
And this is Officer David Borrow.
Right on,
batch number
BZ.
264, date of hire 4/14 of 08.
Great
But why
work.
isn't he a sergeant? Why is he still on patrol after all these years? Well, he ends up being the transport officer for this gentleman here. This is where Sergeant John Stewart offers me a bottle of water. Now, a white man holding a camera on the side of the road, minding my own business, but he didn't offer the brown man with 3 citations that's going to jail and impounding his car a water. What is going on with the favoritism and the conditions of skin color in Flower Mound? Not only is there extortion, but it looks like there's also a discrimination issue.
Interesting comment, one to me.
Oh, I'm good, sir. Yeah, actually, if you got your last name, that would be great. Sergeant Stewart.
And this is Sergeant John Stewart, batch number 338.
Even offered me a bottle of water, guys. See, like I said, you don't get up.
Guys, I got to cut him off. I got to tell you, the amount of work that went into this video is mind-boggling. This probably took him a solid week to 2 weeks. pulling up their jackets, pulling up these public records requests. This is no joke, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe to Bzwatchdog's channel, and make sure to give Rami a bunch of likes and subscribes. Go to Rami and click on his name, Rami with the wrench there. He's one of my mods, and subscribe to his channel. Rami did the editing on this video, guys. I think that it is absolutely phenomenal.
There and get all involved in interference, screaming like, some people in the past, and they just respect your rights. They're pleasant, they're polite, and they respect your rights.
Love it, man. Great video. Good job, Rami. That was out freaking standing. All right. So now we're going to get into like the meat of what I like to do, which is expose corrupt public officials, because our administrative state, from kindergarten through 12th through the Marxist education colleges with their safe spaces and their anti-white mentality that they're spreading, their racist, reverse racism nonsense. They're all about telling you that the government's the boss. You got to do what they say. It's all, you got to obey. It's like a 1984 novel. So let's get into exposing some of these corrupt government officials and see what it's really all about. Let's check it out.
Oh my God, take me home.
We now go to Brimfield Township, Ohio, where County Judge Rebecca Doherty isn't presiding over her courtroom. She's making demands at the local police station.
Do me a favor and have a seat so we can do our job.
Oh, Larry,
I'm not going to call anybody yet. Okay, we have stuff we have to do.
I'm going to tell you now to call Lieutenant Limbert now.
Have a seat.
Call him.
Or I'm going to put you in the
It's
cell.
a judge.
So why is this judge so aggravated? Let's go back earlier in the night.
Hello?
An officer's body camera records as he approaches an SUV that's crashed off the side of a snow-covered road.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
What's going on? Ma'am, you've got vomit down here in your door. Have you been drinking?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have your ID handy?
I'm Becky Doherty. I'm a judge.
I'm a judge.
You're a judge.
To be
I'm Judge
more
Dredd.
specific, she is the county's common pleas court judge, 55-year-old Rebecca Doherty.
Kidding me?
Am I kidding about what?
I am absolutely out of my mind with
You're intoxicated.
I am so intoxicated.
The officer's body cam continues to record as the judge is escorted into booking.
Oh my God, take me home. Okay,
Have a seat.
let me call Limbert.
Have a seat.
No.
Rebecca,
Oh.
listen. This whole thing is being recorded. Do not do something you are going to regret.
Guys, let me ask you a question. Do you see something different about this arrest that we don't normally see? Look at her hands. Give me some comments. Do you notice something different about how they treat their own? I just want to know if you see how it is, guys. You see, she's part of the patrician class, the king's nobles. Look at her hands. Do you see something missing? Some little special things that are. The fact that you can see your hands like this, I want to see some comments. What do you guys see that's different about the way they're treating this judge who could have easily killed multiple people? Tell me what you notice. I'd like to see it in the sidebar. I'm just curious. This is why I show these videos, so you can see the difference between the administrative state and their people and how they treat commoners like us. It just reminds me exactly of the historical reasons why we fought a revolutionary war. And you see that these same types of people, the king's men, are back in power. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. What do you guys see? Do you notice something missing? Let me see.
Tomorrow.
Larry Limbert is actually Major Larry Limbert of the county sheriff's office.
Do me a favor and have a seat so we can do our job.
Oh, Larry.
Right,
I'm not
Jack.
going to call anybody yet. Okay, we have stuff we have to do. Will you please have a seat? You're trying to walk out the door. And
Please
you're
have a
almost
seat.
falling down. Can you
I'm
please
not
have a seat?
falling down.
Have a seat.
Call Larry Limbert.
Rebecca, I will put you in one of the cells. If you
Okay,
I'm
call
trying to
Larry
really
Limbert now.
Have a seat.
Why isn't she in a cell
Call him
now?
now. Call him now.
Yeah.
And that's not the judge's only request.
What can I do for you?
Drink.
Okay. We just literally told you 10 seconds ago that we're getting you a drink of water. He's out front right now getting you the glass.
Not 10 seconds ago. I want a drink of water now. Thank you.
Give me a bunch of ones if you think that they would have given Chili DeCastro a drink of water. Give me a bunch of twos if you think they wouldn't have given Chili DeCastro a drink of water. Give me a bunch of threes if you think they would not have opened the door like that for Chili DeCastro. Have any of you guys been to jail? Have you ever seen anybody treated this way by these hoodlums? Doesn't it make you think like, oh my God, there's two systems. This is a two-tier justice system, one for them and one for all of us commoners, right? Think about that, how ridiculous this is. I'm just blown away. Let's keep going.
Call Larry Linford.
I tried him. He didn't answer.
Really?
Do you want the water?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Larry Linford.
Okay.
He's making calls for her. How kind of him.
After refusing to take a breathalyzer, Judge Doherty is charged with operating a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol.
Give me my phone so I can make a phone call.
Okay. Your phone is in a puddle of vomit in your car, which is on the side of, can I finish? Which is on the side of the road that you crashed into.
Yes.
The tow company is out there trying to get it out. However, it is extremely snowy and slippery out. They are not able to get the vehicle out so far. So your phone is off the table right now. We don't have access to it.
Judge Doherty receives a fine of $1,075 and 180 days in jail, which the presiding judge reduces to $375 and 3 days in jail. Her driver's license is suspended for a year, and she's ordered to complete a driver's intervention program.
Thanks for being a fan of Court Cam. Subscribe to
unbelievable. So did you guys notice anything about her losing her job? No. I mean, if any of you guys can do some additional research on that judge, I'd like to know. My guess is she's probably still on the bench. Now, Thomas Aquinas talked about having people represent us who know the law and mean to keep it well, as did Sir William Blackstone. And they talked about, these guys talked about making sure that we had leaders who were of chaste character. You know, they did not want to have people like that. And so we see the exact opposite now. We see our administrative state with a bunch of corrupt people hanging out at P. Diddy parties, right? Hanging out at Epstein Island. We see the FBI mysteriously losing all of the footage, you know, thousands of hours of footage of former presidents, congressmen, people that are in billion-dollar corporations going and having their way with these little kids. And nothing's happened to any of them. But if it was you or me, we'd be in prison for the rest of our lives, right? Give me a bunch of ones if you agree with that. So let's get into the next one. This next video is about how hundreds of California police officers have kept their past misconduct secret. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, guys. I mean, I'm just blown away when I mean, just watch. You are absolutely going to be freaked out by this. This is the craziest stuff I've ever seen.
California police departments that want to sever ties with officers for misconduct have agreed to let them resign and to keep the bad behavior confidential. That's in order to avoid potentially costly and time-consuming lawsuits. But as a result, officers with bad records have landed new jobs in law enforcement, and their new employers have no idea of their past. That's
Thanks,
the finding of a 5-year-long investigation by the San Francisco Chronicle and the University of California, Berkeley's investigative reporting program. Katie Roosh of the investigative reporting program was the lead author of the articles that appeared in the Chronicle. Katie, you say that these are called clean record agreements. How many of them were we able to find?
What if the judge got one?
We were able to find over 300 involving nearly 300 officers. So some of the officers had multiple. But I think really what the major finding is that we found them in so many different agencies across the state, 167 agencies across the state of California. And it didn't matter the size or the region, we were finding these agreements.
Everywhere.
And what sort of misconduct are we talking about? Did you find in these records?
You know, that was a big question when we started the investigation, was we were wondering, is this just minor mistakes that police are making and then getting these agreements to clean their records? And what we found was, no, this is serious misconduct, everything from dishonesty to sexual assault to excessive
part of a club.
force.
And there's also a wrinkle. There were some cases you found in which they sort of short-circuited the investigations into their behavior by claiming a disability. And talk about what would happen to those officers.
Yeah, those were really interesting cases. So
You
in
bunch of ones
some
for BZ
situations,
guys.
an officer would be accused of misconduct, and during the misconduct disciplinary proceedings, they would claim that they were injured. They had a back injury, they had PTSD, and then they would end up with these agreements that not only whitewashed their misconduct records, but then also guaranteed them a disability pension. So a pension that's meant for an officer who can no longer work, who is so incapacitated that they can no longer do their job.
Insane.
Now these officers are also getting that benefit as well, which is a
You're right,
huge
cops.
benefit, a yearly salary for the rest of their lives with huge tax benefits.
And paid for by the taxpayers.
Absolutely, paid for by the taxpayers.
Is this just a California thing, or is this happening
No,
in other states as well?
everywhere.
Well, our investigation focused on California. California employs the most peace officers in any state in the country. But what we found when we were looking at this, and we couldn't ignore, was that there are agreements like this in almost every state, from Texas to New York to Illinois to Idaho. We found these types of agreements.
You talked to the police chiefs of not only the departments that these people left, but also the departments that they went to. What did they tell you? What was their reaction to this?
It was some of shock and disbelief. I had multiple conversations with some police chiefs and sheriffs who couldn't believe that they didn't know about the misconduct at a previous department. And on the other side, I talked to many police chiefs and sheriffs who just sit awake at night worrying about these agreements that they made that allowed officers who they don't think should be working in the
Yeah, of
profession
course.
to continue to carry a badge and a gun.
Ridiculous.
And you also wrote that some of these police chiefs who worry about this, it wasn't their call. The decision was taken out of their hands.
Absolutely. And I think that was a really interesting part of this was the involvement of the insurance companies.
Yep.
So when it gets to a certain step in the disciplinary process,
That's right.
sometimes the city's municipal insurance gets involved,
Yep.
and then they have ultimate settlement authority. So even though the police chief, the sheriff, the city wants to fire that officer and make sure that their record is not whitewashed, the insurance company comes.
Well, there you go, BZ. Now you have some more public records to request. Let's find out what these insurance companies are up to, and let's find out why they have the authority to decide whether or not a crummy cop gets to stay on the force. Because that, to me, this is a revelation. That's insane. Give me a bunch of ones if you think that it's insane that an insurance company can decide whether or not a cop gets to keep their job. How is that even fair? How is that even constitutional?
Comes in and says, nope, you don't get a say.
And you wrote that in California, there's an organization that actually advocates the use of these agreements. Who's behind that organization?
So in California, most peace officers belong to a union, and as part of that union,
I agree,
they
Dakota.
dues, to a legal defense fund. And so they have this group of lawyers who they have access to. And the one that we found that was primarily working in the state of California was an organization called the Peace Officers Research Association of California, PORAC, and their legal defense fund. They have a group of attorneys, and that legal defense fund was involved in almost every agreement that we were seeing in California.
There's a
That's
relatively
insane.
new law in California that requires the disclosure of police misconduct and gives a commission the power to ban officers from being police officers. How does that law mesh with what's going on?
I think that's really interesting. That
Look, if it's the commission, it's just the government investigating itself, guys. It's all it is a smoke and mirrors operation to try and convince the constituents to keep voting for the same scumbags that have allowed this to happen. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree.
law took effect last year, and so we're still seeing how attorneys and police officers are navigating that with these agreements. But what we found from our investigation is that law wasn't aware of these agreements, doesn't specifically address these agreements,
Of course
and
not.
also only addresses a specific type of misconduct.
Why
So
would it?
there are only certain types of misconduct that are reportable to the state, that are required to be reported to the state. And so there still leaves this loophole for
Mhm.
officers to kind of get around this law.
Is anything being done to close that loophole in California?
Right now, the legislature in California is not in session. They reconvene in December, but there are a lot of conversations that I'm having, obviously, because of our investigation with lawmakers about what could possibly be done. Would they model a state like Kansas or Colorado who have passed laws to specifically address these agreements? I think time will tell what California is going to do to address this, but I can tell you that they are having those
Nothing's
conversations
going to happen.
right now.
Katie Roosh, thank you very much. And thank you very much for this reporting.
Nothing's going to happen. Nothing ever does. So you kind of see what's going on. I'll bet you, give me a bunch of ones if you guys never knew that. Give me a bunch of ones if you never knew that when a bad cop could be accused of having his way with ladies in the back of his car, right? Killing someone, but the insurance company gets to decide whether or not the cop gets to keep his badge and his gun. That to me, that is just absolutely insane. And so Dakota says, the sad thing is that only the sheriff should be able to hire anyone because only he or she, whoever the sheriff is, can have deputies. I only see them as the true law holders. Well, you might be right. I mean, constitutionally, I think you're on point, but the problem is the administrative state, the election system, the way these people are put into power, I think that it just corrupts everybody. They're part of a totally different club. You saw what happened with that judge earlier. I mean, she's literally not being handcuffed. She's drunk off her, just completely wiped out of her mind, wasted. And she's bossing these cops around. They're offering her water. They don't put her in torture cuffs. They're calling people for her. And her car is completely destroyed on the side of the road. And they're treating her like she's special. So that's just another example. Now, here's another one. This is an off-duty Princess George's County officer that finally was arrested and charged. And it's great that they get arrested and charged, but nothing ever happens. Let's see if anything happened to this dude.
To a story that we've been following closely, a Prince George's County rookie officer facing criminal charges. That officer appeared before a judge today. Sierra Alston faces 3 counts of unauthorized use of a vehicle. 7 News Maryland Bureau Chief Brad Bell was in the courtroom. So, Brad, what played out during today's arraignment?
Yeah, so look, it was a very brief appearance in court. She essentially said, yes, she's hired an attorney, and they set some future court dates. But what we learned from some documents today is that even though this officer is charged with unauthorized use of just 3 vehicles, the investigation which led to her was touched off when the rental car company realized that they had 30 cars stolen from their lot at Reagan National Airport. And I got to tell you, after this hearing today, the officer was in no mood to answer our questions. Ms. Alston, is there anything that you would like to say?
Yes, get those cameras on my face. You like a cashew.
Did you steal these cars?
Did you?
Prince George's County police officer Sierra Alston leaving.
I mean, can you believe that they hired somebody like this? I mean, come on, guys. She sounds like a gangster, right? Many people would say she's probably a DEI hire, and this would be the typical result of hiring someone based upon certain characteristics as opposed to merit. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree with that.
Arlington County District Court today after a brief appearance for her arraignment. As we first reported Monday, the rookie cop celebrated by the department last spring in a social media post during Women's History Month was arrested last week after being charged by Washington Metropolitan Airport Authority police with unauthorized use of 3 BMWs stolen from the 6th rental car company at Reagan National Airport. Now, we know from court documents that her charges stem from an investigation into 30 cars stolen from the company's lot.
Are you kidding
Alston
me?
was tied to 3 of them when her police jacket and documents were found in one, her phone connected to Bluetooth in a second, and she was seen with the 3rd BMW in DC police body cam footage. It's also alleged when confronted by an investigator last spring, she claimed she had taken an Uber and lost her jacket. When told that car was in front of her house, it's alleged she claimed she didn't live there. Alston has been on light duty since last April. Sources say it is because of her pregnancy. She is now suspended without pay.
Get those cameras on my face. Thank you. Watch out.
Is there anything you want to say about this at all? Yeah, so yesterday we posed a number of questions to the Prince George's County Police Department. We got answers today. Primarily, yes, she had a background check before
Nick.
she was hired last year. She
mistake.
is in her probationary period, but under Maryland state law, she can't just be fired. There is a process. And even though she was connected last year.
You know, it's so easy. Under Maryland state law, government people, you can't mess with them, right? But if it was anyone else like Chili DeCastro, they'd lock him up for 4 months and throw away the key. I mean, I just want you guys to see the reason why so many Americans are outraged with the administrative state. These people are out of control. Now, here's another interesting case. This has to do with the police releasing body cam footage of a Douglas County judge's arrest at Buckhead nightclub. and this is another one that one of my viewers sent me, and he said that this was a DEI hired judge. And I don't know if it's true because I don't have the employment records, but give it a watch because it just seems to be eerily similar to these other criminal law enforcement officials. I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe you guys can help explain this to me.
Atlanta police released new video showing the arrest of a Douglas County judge. It shows probate judge Christina Peterson's encounter with police before, during, and after she was arrested and booked into the Fulton County Jail.
Ma'am,
Take me where you want to take me.
I can't take
No,
you. I don't
take
have any
me.
identification.
And I don't care. You don't need identification. You have locked people up, and you have picked up dead bodies when you don't know who bodies it was, but you picked them up. Take me where you need to take me.
That's Peterson you saw in the back of the squad car. There she is again engaging with police before she's rushed to the ground and placed in handcuffs. The night this happened, an Atlanta police officer was working a security detail at the Red Martini Lounge in Buckhead. Police say the officer overheard some commotion, stepped in to de-escalate it, and that's when Peterson physically got involved with police. Police also showed video of what happened when they got her out of the squad car.
Stop touching. I got it. I can walk on my own. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Wait a minute. So how many of you guys think that they found out she's a judge? You notice where her handcuffs are? Now she's got them in front of her. Do you think that they would have done that for anyone else? Chili DeCastro, me, any of you guys, especially a black male? Do you think that they would have made the torture cuffs more comfortable for their victim / defendant? Give me a bunch of ones if you think that they would only do that if it was somebody who was a government official because it's part of their club. And give me a bunch of twos if you think that they would definitely keep the handcuffs on you, but torture cuffs on you behind your back. I'd love to see what y'all have to say.
Don't touch me. I got it. I can walk on my own. Don't touch me.
Peterson is now being charged with simple battery against a police officer and felony willful obstruction of law enforcement by use of threats of violence. The judge and her attorney held a news conference yesterday. She says she was wrongfully arrested and now wants the charges dropped.
It just doesn't stop. But guys, it's not just exclusive to the United States or American towns. This is an interesting one. This is a police sergeant in I think it's Gambia, South Africa. Okay. South Africa. Let's check this one out. This is wild, man. I mean, it's happening everywhere, I guess.
Adorning a face mask that covered her face, Sergeant Rachel Kutumela made her first court appearance. The presiding officer ordered her to remove the face mask that had concealed the face.
Right, Just Willie.
Just yesterday, Kutumela was placed in handcuffs by Captain Keshi Mabunda while fully clad in her police uniform. She faces a total of 17 charges. They include 6 for premeditated murder. She's expected to apply for bail next Friday.
As per agreement between your legal representative and the state, the matter is postponed to the 18th of October, 2024, back to this court A at 8:30 in the morning for your bail application and the profiling. At this stage, I'm informed that this is a Schedule 6 bail application and it is opposed by the state. So your application will be heard on the 18th of October, 2024. You remain in custody until then.
The National Prosecuting Authority believes it has a strong case against Kutumela.
We are saying that the accused has planned this case, and then the onus is on her to prove if there is exceptional circumstances to release her on bail. Planning can involve 2 or more people. So at this stage, we are expecting more arrests.
Her defense, however, is confident that she will eventually be acquitted of all charges.
She's not intending to plead guilty, reason being that as I consulted with her thoroughly, it is just an allegation to her without a base, meaning that she won't plead guilty.
Family members of some of the deceased were also in court. Nuku Monjo is believed to be Kutumela's first victim in 2019. His family is happy that someone is finally being held accountable 5 years after he was murdered.
After that, Sister Rachel I take over for everything.
After his body was found, Sister Rachel told the family that she would cover the cost of his funeral and erect a tombstone. She told us that she had enlisted Sydney on her subs policy as he was the father of her firstborn. We did not know anything about this. The investigating officer, Captain Keshi Mabunda, is expected to take the stand to oppose bail during Kutumela's bail application next Friday. Biman Baloi, SABC News, Polokwane.
So look, guys, it's not just happening here, and it's not like a race-specific thing. It's a power thing. It's the Leviathan, the great Leviathan, the administrative state. They have so much power, and even if she gets convicted, do you guys really think that she is going to have as hard of a time as if she was a non-law enforcement officer? She's part of their club, and the problem is these guys know where the bodies are buried. That's the problem. They know where the bodies are buried as a figure of speech, and the government purposefully protects their own because they know that this person could become a whistleblower. I guarantee you, if she's being charged with the murder of 6 people, there's probably a lot more where those came from, and it's not just her doing it. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree with me. I just wanted to share that with you. So this next one I'm going to share with you has to do with a new racist. This judge actually said, I'm a new racist. And ultimately she was removed from office. But unfortunately, it seems like that's the only thing that gets people removed is if they're a certain skin color and they admit that they're racist. But everyone else seems to be able to stay in power. Give me a bunch of ones if you know what I'm talking about.
We begin tonight with a judge who makes life-altering decisions for families and those with disabilities, now accused of making racist comments and using shocking, derogatory language. Thank you for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Mike Duffy. 7 investigator Heather Catallo joins us now with more about why an Oakland County probate judge has been removed from her docket. Heather?
Like a high-ranking probate court official says he's been recording Judge Kathleen Ryan's statements for years. Even though probate court administrator Edward Hutton says he's been harassed by Judge Ryan, he says he does not want this to be about him. Hutton says he's coming forward now because he wants to protect the people who have to face Judge Ryan in the courtroom.
The Honorable Kathleen A. Ryan presiding. Good morning. You may be seated.
After more than 13 years on the bench, Oakland County Chief Probate Pro Tem Judge Kathleen Ryan is out of her courtroom. Chief Probate Judge Linda Hallmark removed Judge Ryan from her docket last week, announcing that a complaint about internal allegations of unprofessional conduct was sent to the Judicial Tenure Commission. Judge Ryan was arrested in 2021 for domestic violence, but those charges were later dismissed.
Of course.
And now she's back in the headlines.
So if you're black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're an American black person, then you're a lazy piece of.
The 7 investigators have obtained the recordings that county officials say prompted Judge Ryan's removal.
Oh, he's just I have no use for him.
She's made it a living hell in the past 6 years. I mean, it's been terrible. It's cost me relationships. I think it's affected my health. Can't sleep.
Attorney Edward Hutton is the Oakland County Probate Court Administrator. He's in charge of running everything that's not under the judge's purview inside one of the state's largest probate courts.
Wow.
Hutton alleges Judge Ryan has been calling him both during work and after hours for years. And Hutton says during those hours and hours of calls, Judge Ryan said highly inappropriate things.
Why did you start recording the calls?
I just felt like it wasn't going to change.
Now, this is interesting because in California, both parties have to consent to the phone recording, and it's a criminal offense. So it's interesting how that law didn't apply to him. I'm not quite sure. Maybe Bzwatchdog can help me understand, but nonetheless, I mean, come on. This woman is a nut job. Why the heck is she calling the head administrator of the court all the time? Something weird's going on here. They're not telling us everything, right, guys?
Nothing's manipulated in it. It's conversations that I was a part of, and I'm absolutely willing to testify to the authenticity of every single one of them.
I can honestly say that. Okay, I'm not systemically racist. I'm a new racist. I never was, but now I am because you're shoving the down my throat and making allegations that you don't know about. You're telling me who I am and you've never met me. You.
Wild, man.
Hutton says the judge also used homophobic slurs about other elected officials.
Okay. Because obviously this dude's gay, right? So why is she making these comments to him? I mean, clearly he's going to throw her under the bus. But just think about it, guys. This is a judge, and she's literally saying that American black people are lazy. I mean, would you, if you were a black person, would you want to have her as your judge? So I think it was a good call, but I'm not quite clear on how he was able to legally get those tapes admitted into evidence without being thrown in jail himself. So it's a little funky. Now, Bzwatchdog, he's saying, I heard you showed some extortion. Yeah, I showed some of your extortion videos, buddy. And then really quick, let me just address a few comments here because I want to say hi to and by the way, I want to thank all you guys for showing up to my channel. I really do appreciate my audience. Just Willie says the entire Portage County cash register is corrupt. The sheriff is nasty as hell. I believe that. And then Brace for Pleasure says, hey, Michael, I hope you're having a good day. Nice to see you keeping these lives going. Hey, thanks a lot, Brace for Pleasure. It is very hard. And look, super chats are always appreciated. But more than that, what I do appreciate is you guys getting a digital version of my ebook, my journey to becoming a practicing lawyer with no law degree or undergrad. I take you on my journey of how I did it, going from being a blue collar guy and being a health club salesman and Rodney Dangerfield's limousine driver into becoming a certified law student, trying 3 cases to the jury, doing hundreds of depositions, working for many different lawyers, getting an externship with the California Court of Appeal, talk about that stuff and how I did it as an inspiring story to help you guys understand that you can do it too. You can do it too. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to have a big law degree or even an undergrad. You can become a lawyer if you work hard at it. Still got to pass the bar, which is a real you-know-what, but you can do it. And now Bzwatchdog asked me if I saw his Karen live from last night. Yeah, I checked it out. So what I tried to do, BZ, tonight was to show videos that are like, maximum of 6 minutes because I wanted to get through all this material. And then let me see here. Wanda Mise, the chief public defender, obviously talked to the judge and no facts would prove me at fault. Right. And then Exiled Coconut says that she thinks that she's referring to people she sees in her court versus the ones from Africa. From her perspective, well, I'm not going to get into that one. Cops are 5150. This is a reaction video. Thank you very much. And then Wanda Mise says, I don't mind supporting an ambulance chaser. Well, look, I don't just do personal injury. It just happens to be I'm really good at that. And most of my clients are bikers and former Marines. And so when they get in accidents, they know that most lawyers are kind of shady, and they know that I'll go the extra mile for them. And they know that I'm bound by a different code of honor than most lawyers because of my background. So that's why I do it, guys, because I got into a rollover accident when I was a young boy and almost died. And that's before they had seatbelt laws. And I remembered what jerks and how pretentious the lawyers were that represented me. And I vowed to myself that I would never treat people like that if I ever became a lawyer. And I never thought that I would because I got kicked out of school for fighting. I was always little and I was in judo. So these other bigger kids would pick on me and I'd throw them and then I would get thrown out of school. So that kind of thing. So I never expected this. So I do appreciate you guys supporting my channel and being here for me and my family, really, because this is like therapy for me, guys, to be able to have an audience. I mean, already we've had 80,000 views tonight. And I'm glad that I'm able to get this message out there and share my experiences with you and educate you a little bit on the law. I think it's really awesome. And no, it's okay, Wanda. You can call me an ambulance chaser. Right? The shoe fits wear. That's what I do. But I don't really chase ambulances. I just primarily try to help veterans and people and especially ladies and parents who are having their kids taken away from them by what I believe to be a very corrupt public school system and an even more corrupt child protective services. I think that most administrative agencies need to be abolished. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree that the servant has become the master and it's time for us to take back our country from the administrative state and show them who the real boss is. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Now let's get back into this video.
And that's not all.
A lot of times they were conversations about sexual encounters that she's having with various individuals. I mean, in intimate detail.
Hutton says for years he felt like he had to play along, and he says for years he was afraid to speak up.
I didn't want to lose my job, and I didn't want to be in her crosshairs. It's such a David and Goliath situation. I don't have the power. I'm not elected. I could get fired tomorrow.
On May 24th, Hutton says he sent Chief Judge Linda Hallmark a notice of sexual harassment.
For 3 months, nothing happened.
That's why on August 22nd, Hutton says he decided to send the recordings to the Chief Justice of the State Supreme.
Oops. Oops.
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers?
Sorry, guys. I had to do that for BZ to give you a little bit of fun. Let's get back into this.
The power. I'm not elected. I could get fired tomorrow.
On May 24th, Hutton says he sent Chief Judge Linda Hallmark a notice of sexual harassment.
For 3 months, nothing happened.
That's why on August 22nd, Hutton says he decided to send the recordings to the Chief Justice of the State Supreme Court, Oakland County Executive David Coulter, and other public officials. And he also contacted me.
I just want to make it right. I haven't filed a lawsuit. I'm not looking for a payday. I want to keep my job and do it in peace. And I want the people in Oakland County that come to court to get a fair shake, to have their day in court, to have an unbiased trier of fact.
In that email, Hutton said Judge Ryan, quote, has vocalized her hate and contempt for various protected groups.
Something's not right with that
Once
guy.
the recordings were shared with those state and county officials, Judge Ryan was removed from her docket. In a statement, County Executive Coulter said, quote, there is absolutely no place for harassment of any kind or for racist or homophobic language by anyone at Oakland County, especially by someone the public must be confident will act fairly and impartially. The alleged conduct and abhorrent comments made by Judge Ryan merited her removal from the probate court docket pending further
This woman's got some serious issues. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree.
Absolutely not. Nobody with that much hate in their heart for certain people or certain groups of people, I don't believe that they could possibly make fair,
oh my God,
decisions
BZ, you're on a roll
regarding
tonight,
them.
man.
I did reach out to Judge Kathleen Ryan to talk to her about this. Her attorneys sent me this statement that says, quote, we respect the authority of the Michigan Supreme Court. However, we look forward to vindicating Judge Ryan in the appropriate forum. I also spoke to probate judge Daniel O'Brien. He says Judge Ryan's friends are supporting her and believe these statements are totally out of character for her.
All right, certainly a lot here, but what's next with the Judicial Tenure Commission?
Well, they cannot confirm or deny whether they are pursuing an investigation. There has been some reporting that suggests that the complaint against the judge involved an inappropriate personal relationship. Hutton says that is not true. He says there was no physical contact. This was strictly a sexual harassment complaint about her alleged comments that started all of this. But again, he says the bigger issue here is what the judge says about people in protected classes, and he's hoping that is what the JTC will focus on. So
yeah, that's a huge issue. You know, when you have a judge, you want a judge who's going to be fair and impartial, and she's basically just impeached herself. Now, Becca Cunningham says there's a few exceptions in California, including adding an audible beep where both parties can hear, and recording is allowed if recorded during the commission of a crime or among other things. Becca, if you could throw me a link, I'd love to see that. I'm a lawyer and I never knew that. But you know what? Lawyers don't know a lot of things, guys, believe it or not. We typically specialize in a few areas of law and get really good at it. So anytime I can learn anything else, especially from my audience, I'm all ears. I'd love to learn more about that law. Now, let me just see here. Yeah, Wanda Mise says, I can't take anyone in a robe serious. You know, my dad hated judges. He hated lawyers. He was really upset that I became a lawyer. He was proud of me, but he wanted me to take over his land development company. He started out as a ditch digger out of Vietnam, making $2 an hour, and he worked his way up to becoming the general manager of the CBR Development Company. And he built all the Winchell's Donuts and Denny's restaurants all across the United States. In fact, most Denny's restaurants that you see, my dad built them. If they're not a new one, if it's an older Denny's, my dad built that. My dad probably built the Denny's restaurant that you lived at. And so it's just an interesting little tidbit of information to share with you. And then he ended up becoming a custom home builder. And that's how I learned construction. I can build a house from the ground up. I can dig the forms, lay the rebar, everything. I know how to do it all. Every summer I work with a different trade until I went into the Marine Corps. And I started out at 6 years old learning how to operate tractors, believe it or not. So pretty cool life stories to share with people, things that I've done. This white collar type stuff that I'm doing right now is not who I am. I'm a blue collar guy. And that's why I relate to everybody in my audience. And that's why I have friends like BZ and mostly Marines or retired Navy SEAL buddies of mine that I hang out with, because I just don't relate to the academic types. To me, they're just, there's people who do, and there's people who don't. There's two types of people in this world: people who want to be controlled and people who don't. And I'm one of the types of people who does not want to be controlled. I don't believe anything a politician or a government official says until they can prove it. And people that grew up in academic institutions, they tend to support the government point of view, which I never do. Our country was born in a violent revolution, and it had to do with distrust of government. So obviously, I'm your guy. Now, the last video that we're gonna get into is the Harris administration, because we know Sleepy Joe is definitely not in charge, passed a new rule I believe is totally unconstitutional that allows the military to shoot people if they disagree with the election results. Now, the only reason I could think that they would pass this is because they know that the fix is already in on this election. That's my philosophy, my theory. But let's listen to what this gentleman has to say, because I'm blown away that our government, it literally thinks it's okay for our military to fire on civilians. To me, that's disgusting. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. And then we'll get into the posse comitatus, and we'll talk about a couple other things. But I want you to watch this guy. Watch my view count go down, right, when I start playing this, because your traffic gets throttled, right, whenever you disagree with the people that with this company that runs this channel supports. Let's watch.
Harris Biden administration just authorized lethal force by the military on United States citizens. Y'all, we need to pay attention to this. I was given this. It's a copy of the Department of Defense directive that was updated on September 27th. I got this about 3 weeks ago. Literally, I got this the night that the storm happened here, Hurricane Ehline, and I've been just tied up trying to help as many people as I can here. And now I'm finally getting a chance to record this video. This is a terrible, terrible thing. I have the directive. Like I said, I've had it for about 3.5 weeks. And yesterday, I was doing my due diligence. I read this directive, and I even reached out to some of my friends who are currently serving in the United States military in different branches at very high ranking levels, some of them in support, some of them in SF, Special Forces. And this is legit. This is the same directive they got, and it's not good. Never before has the United States military been able to take lethal force action on American citizens in the homeland. But here we are. Why? Because they think that there will be civil unrest in,
I wonder why they think that.
3 weeks or 4 weeks for the election. 3 weeks. And when they tell you who they are, ladies and gentlemen, believe them.
Believe them.
And they're telling us who they are. You know, Biden has said for years now, if you think you got to defeat the United States military, you're going to need an F-16. Remember all that bullshit?
Yep.
Well, he just cleared the military to take action. Here is the DoD Directive 5240.01 that was just updated, like I said, September 27th. And it is the DoD intelligence and intelligence-related activities and defense intelligence component assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities. Now, rather than just show you the one paragraph that is going to make your eyes bleed, let's see what it's applicable to, okay?
Watch
This
this,
issuance
guys. It's gonna
applies to
blow
the
your
Office
mind.
of the Secretary of Defense, the military departments,
Unconstitutional.
the Office of the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Joint Staff, the combatant commands, the Office of Inspector General of the Department of Defense, the defense agencies, the Department of Defense field activities, and all other organizational entities within the Department of Defense referred to collectively in this issuance as the DoD components. Now, this issuance does not apply to activities conducted by the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency pursuant to Section 442 of Title 10 of the U.S. Code or Section 3045 of Title 50 of the U.S. Code for A, humanitarian assistance, B, disaster readiness, response, and recovery, C, maritime and aeronautical safety of navigation, D, environmental and security vulnerability studies, E, mapping, charting, and geodetic missions, F, other similar activities not constituting foreign intelligence or counterintelligence.
Unbelievable.
Okay, so of those things that it does not apply to, it wouldn't take but a single order from above to turn that into a different scenario where they're going to say there's public and civil unrest. And here's the part that everybody should be aware of. This is the part a lot of people have been reaching out about in the last couple of weeks here, and I have verified it. This is the one that everybody got issued, and my friends in the military have all said the same thing, that this was not accidentally included.
That's right.
Here it is. You go to Section 3.3, Levels of Authority. Subject to paragraph 3.1, defense intelligence components may provide personnel to assist the federal department or agency, including a federal law enforcement agency or a state or local law enforcement agency when lives are in.
But yet the government argued just recently that the Constitution prohibits the U.S. military from helping with hurricane efforts. But yet all of a sudden it's okay because there's an election and, you know, they want to make sure there's not riots when their candidate gets elected, you know, with help from the letter carriers union, for example, that endorsed her. Listen to this. It's going to blow your mind.
Danger in response to a request for such assistance in accordance with the following approval authorities. 1, the Secretary of Defense may approve any type of requested permissible assistance prescribed in paragraph 3.2. 2, the decision to approve requests for these types of permissible assistance described in paragraph 3.2 to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities are reserved to the Secretary of Defense. A, provision of personnel to support response efforts for civil disturbances, which may also require presidential authorization. B, DoD response to chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and high-yield explosive incidents. C, and this is the big one, assistance in responding with assets with potential for lethality or any situation in which it is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. It also includes all support to civilian law enforcement officials in situations where a confrontation between civilian law enforcement and civilian individuals or groups is reasonably anticipated. Such use of force must be in accordance with DoD, that's Department of Defense Directive 5210.56, potentially as further.
I've got a question for you guys. If any of you is active duty military, would you ever follow an order that said you have to fire on American citizens? Would you do that? We saw a few brave Marines, mostly the Marine Corps, who refused to take the shot, right? And they lost their jobs, and now it was found that they were terminated unlawfully, and they were able to get their jobs back, but they won't go back. But other than that, do you think the other branches would hesitate to fire on American civilians? Give me a bunch of ones if you think that the Army and the Marines and the Navy would fire on American citizens, and give me a bunch of 2 if you think they wouldn't.
Further restricted based on the specifics of the requested support. D, provision or use of DoD unmanned systems, drones, in the United States except as delegated by the Secretary of Defense pursuant to the October 31, 23 Secretary of Defense memorandum. Guys, anywhere that law enforcement could potentially be anticipated to have a confrontation with civilians or civilian groups, i.e. militia, you know, that group that's required by the United States Constitution.
Exactly.
They're authorized to, upon request and approval by the Secretary of Defense, and perhaps in some situations the President, they're approved to shoot you, to kill you. That's
Wake
how
up, people.
far we have fallen.
Wake up, America.
That's how far we have drifted away from the republic that our forefathers died.
Right. And so now I'm going to cut in really quick and tell you a little bit about the Constitution so you can see why I think this is ridiculous. The United States Constitution prohibits a standing army for more than 2 years. A lot of people don't know that. The only constitutionally authorized armed force is the Navy and by extension the Marine Corps to not have to be funded every 2 years to exist. The U.S. Constitution, specifically in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 2, grants Congress the power to raise and support armies, but it stipulates no appropriation of money to that use shall be for a longer term than 2 years, because our founding fathers always expected the citizenry to form their own irregular militia, and they would police themselves, and they would. Well regulated simply means well trained under the Second Amendment. That's literally what it means, well trained. It doesn't mean regulated by Nancy Pelosi or the ATF. Always think forfeiture ATF. No, it literally means that the militia, we the people, the citizenry, all males 16 years and up are to be armed and to be part of the militia, the irregular militia. There's two types of militia. There's regulars and irregulars, but we're all born into our heritage as irregular militia. Now, this provision was included for several historical and philosophical reasons. Historical context. At the time of the Constitution's drafting, the framers were influenced by historical experiences with standing armies. For instance, the British use of a standing army in the American colonies was often viewed with suspicion. Why wouldn't it be? As it was seen as a tool of oppression. The fear was that a standing army could be used by a government to suppress the liberties of citizens. Duh! Give me a bunch of ones if you agree with that. Fear of military tyranny was a genuine concern among the framers about the potential for a standing army to be used by a tyrant. Hello, tyrant, does that ring a bell? Or a faction within the government, like Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, for example, to enforce authoritarian rule, like Comey, right? Comey, or the 40 CIA agents who said the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, and now we know they all lied, right? By limiting the funding term to 2 years, the framers ensured that the military would be under continuous civilian control, requiring Congress to regularly debate and approve its existence and funding. Civilian control of the military. This clause reinforces the principle of civilian control over the military, not government crony administrative state scumbags who lie to us on a regular basis and then say they want to censor our speech because of disinformation, where they're the ones doing the majority of the lying. Exactly. By mandating that Congress must reauthorize military funding every 2 years, it ensures that the legislative branch, which is directly elected by we the people, maintains oversight and control of military affairs. But here, these are federal orders coming from the executive branch, thereby depriving the American citizenry of their direct control over the U.S. military. And it was based upon the Republican ideals of our Constitution. The framers were deeply influenced by Republican ideals, which emphasized the danger of unchecked power. They believed that regular review and renewal of military funding would prevent the military from becoming an autonomous power center that could threaten the republic, which is precisely what these orders are doing. Budgetary and policy review. In limiting appropriations to 2 years also meant that Congress must frequently review and debate military policy and spending, allowing for adjustments based on the current needs, threats, and public sentiment. This regular review process aligns with the 2-year term for members of the House of Representatives. Duh. Providing a natural cycle for revisiting military power. Think about that for a second, guys. what the hell is happening to our constitutional republic that all the academics and people in politics keep calling a democracy, which it's not. It never was supposed to be. Encouragement of a militia. The framers also favored the idea of a citizen militia over a professional standing army because it was seen as less likely to be used against the populace and more in line with the ideals of a citizenry. So you got it right there, guys. I mean, everything that you need to know is right there. This is an unconstitutional situation. Now, the use of the U.S. military against the American citizens on U.S. soil is governed by several legal principles and laws, including the Constitution, but it's not an absolute prohibition. So here's a couple of breakdowns of exceptions. The Posse Comitatus Act. This is the primary law often cited in discussions about military involvement in domestic law enforcement. Enacted in 1878, it generally prohibits federal military personnel from acting in a law enforcement capacity within the United States unless explicitly authorized by the U.S. Constitution or an act of Congress. This is a statutory law, however, not a constitutional one. And I kind of disagree with Posse Comitatus. I don't think that it is lawful. However, it's lawful if the guys with the guns say it is, right? The Insurrection Act. This act allows the president to use federal military forces to suppress insurrections, rebellions, and domestic violence under certain conditions, effectively providing an exception to the Posse Comitatus Act. Constitutional considerations. Article 4, Section 4 guarantees to every state in the Union a Republican form of government and protection against invasion and domestic violence. This could imply a constitutional basis for military intervention in extreme circumstances. I disagree with that. The First Amendment protects the rights to peaceable assembly and petition, right? Now they're going to come and shoot you, though, right? However, this doesn't grant immunity from law enforcement actions if activities turn violent or illegal. But no, the military should not be used against its own citizens. This comes from ancient history that the Romans weren't allowed, the Roman military, the Roman army wasn't allowed, I think it was the Tiber, was not allowed to cross the Tiber. And that's how the tyrant Julius Caesar gained power. He brought an armed military into Rome, and that was prohibited by them because they knew, just as our founders did, that this would cause calamity and destroy the republic. The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures, which could come into play if military forces were used in a law enforcement role. Due process, the 5th and 14th Amendments ensure due process, which would apply in any scenario where force might be used. Now, there's Supreme Court precedents, but there are no clear-cut Supreme Court rulings that absolutely prohibit military force against citizens. Decisions often look at the context, necessity, and the legal authorizations of the time. Martial law. In extreme circumstances, the military might be used if civilian law enforcement is unable to maintain public order. But yet, Sleepy Joe would not allow the military to help rescue the hurricane victims. But yet now he wants to use them if you're unhappy with his with the christening of looks like Kamala Harris. Looks like they've already decided that she'll be the next president, and they're going to make sure that they use the military forces to put down the insurrection that will follow. That's my reading of this. Give me some comments if you think there's another explanation for this. This would typically require some form of legal justification, possibly an executive order, congressional act, or under the pretext of national emergency laws. Now we're going to let this gentleman finish what he's got to say, because I really like this guy. By the way, his channel is Guns and Gadgets, Second Amendment News. Dick Heller, one of my clients, DC versus Heller, the seminal case on firearms rights in this country. My client, Dick, turned me on to this channel. And I was just hanging out with him recently at the SHOT Show in Nevada. Really great guy, Dick Heller. Check out his channel on Twitter, Real Dick Heller. Check him out.
To create. It doesn't get any more real than this. I have a link down below if you want to read this directive. It's 22 pages, but the section I just highlighted is all you need to know. If you're in the military, heed this call.
Yeah, don't shoot civilians.
You have been called to serve
Don't do it.
in the defense of country against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
And if someone
The people that penned this order.
If someone told you in the military to fire on civilians, they are the domestic enemy. Look, as a Marine, I would have never fired on an American citizen ever. This is disgusting that this is happening right before an election. It makes you question these elections even more when the party in power, right, wants to stay in power, and now they're calling out the military to potentially fire on civilians. Think about that, guys.
And the people who ordered them to pen this order have just proven to be enemies of this
Amen.
nation.
Give me a
And
bunch
you
of ones if you agree.
Better believe that they are domestic enemies. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Harris-Biden administration. I mean, technically, Biden is the commander-in-chief, but he's out to lunch and been on the beach, and she's been running the show.
No,
so Kamala
Biden's
Harris
wife.
and her crew, her bunch of cronies, have just told the military, you better get this on paper and get this directive out in time.
That's right.
Before the election. Why? Why?
I wonder.
Now, I'll go out on a tier, and I'm going to get on my little tinfoil hat.
You'll get banned by
some
the
people call
thought
it
police,
conspiracy theory. I tend to say it's a spoiler alert. But if they anticipate an uprising of, I don't know, Republicans, patriots,
I wonder.
They'll probably look to potentially issue this order, based off of this directive. But would they do it if it were a bunch of blue-haired, screaming crybaby liberals who have never been told no, never been told, yeah, you're absolutely wrong? You let me know down below. Guys and gals, I'll bring you this information every day. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel to stay in the know. If you absolutely hate what's going on with America, subscribe to this channel right now.
I'm going to drop his link in the sidebar for you guys real quick. So, before we wrap things up, I want to thank everybody for showing up, and I want to again thank everybody for your super chats and your and all the stuff that you guys have done for me to help keep this channel going. But the best way that you can support my channel is the best way that you guys can support my channel, honestly, and support yourselves, is to get the digital version of my ebook by going to my YouTube channel at Michael Ehline, Ehline, and purchasing a copy of My Journey to Becoming a Practicing Lawyer with No Law Degree or Undergrad. It's $19.99. It talks about my journey to becoming a practicing lawyer with no college degree or law degree, and then getting a law degree later on, after I was already a sworn practicing member of the bar, trying cases, going to court, because I was worried that people wouldn't take me seriously unless I had a law degree. But I got to tell you, law school, as far as I'm concerned, was a total waste of time. They don't really teach you anything about the history of the law or anything that I learned in libraries. And I'm kind of disappointed with the whole experience. Becoming a lawyer with no law degree was an amazing experience. I got to work under an appellate justice, under some of the best lawyers in the country. Gary Dordick, a multi-billion-dollar award-winning attorney, one of the most honorable people I've ever met in my life. And it just had an amazing experience. So you can support my channel by getting a copy of My Journey to Becoming a Lawyer with No Law Degree. That helps me support the channel. It helps me take time away from my busy files to be able to bring these shows to you. And then again, right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of the comments, because I always want to thank my audience for showing up, because without you guys, I wouldn't be doing the show. So obviously, Steve Conkler, Copser 5150, thank you again for showing up. Kyle, I'm glad you got your wrench. Hopefully no one's messing with you or timing you out anymore, Kyle. Let me know on one of my shorts. Everybody, please also make sure, before we close out today, to go and look at my shorts. Look at my short videos and see if you're able to click on them. Make sure to double tap the screen for this show. We've gotten over 100,000 views. Thank you all for joining. Make sure to double tap the screen, because that's how you show likes in vertical mode. And make sure to type in the sidebar that these were reaction videos for me. But check out my shorts and click the like to make sure you can like them. Go back in time to the older ones. Make sure to see if you're able to tap the like button. and make some comments if you like them. But the idea is I'm trying to figure out, I want to get some feedback from you because I believe that I'm being shadow banned as well as Chili DeCastro's channel. Him and I aren't able to like each other's videos. We're not able to comment on each other's videos, only a few of them. So I want to find out from my audience if you're having similar issues. And obviously it helps the channel if you save, if you press the little square save feature for later viewing. That gives me a lot more boost than a like or a comment. YouTube promotes videos primarily based on people saving them for later viewing. So that's a big thing that you need to do. I used to review the patents with a good friend of mine, Bill Slosky, who died several days after his, when they're on the lockdowns, the things they were forcing you to take, right? I can't even say it because my channel will get banned, but he died of a stroke, and I still miss him. And he had a channel called SEO by the Sea. And if you go to my Reddit channel, you'll see a picture of him with me and a couple of the girls that work for my firm. And by the way, everybody, make sure to like and make sure to subscribe to my Reddit channel. Yeah, go to Reddit and type in Michael Ehline, reddit.com, type in Michael Ehline and subscribe to my Reddit channel. Because I've got a lot of really cool videos and shares about the law on there as well. And I share Bzwatchdog stuff on there, but I don't have a lot of subscribers there. So come on over to my Reddit channel and join me. And then again, Wanda Mise, thank you so much. Rich Coma, Article 3, Section 3, Article 4, Section 4. Okay, gotcha. All right, let everybody look that up. And then let me see here. Rami, thank you so much, brother. And thank you so much, BZ and Rami, for the great videos and the content. Bzwatchdog has done some of the most outstanding videography I've ever seen. He's literally doing public records requests of the officers. He's finding out who the victims are, and he's posting them on his videos. That takes a lot of work, guys. I'm asking all of you guys to please join his channel and support him financially. He has a company that sells, I think, self-defense weapons. Donate to him. You don't have to do the super chats because you're giving half your money to somebody who's diametrically opposed to everything you believe in. Donate money, buy his book if he's got one. I got a book. Again, if you go to my channel, get a copy, My Journey to Becoming a Practicing Lawyer with No Law Degree or Undergrad, $19.99. That helps me support the channel and cover a lot of my overhead from having to do these shows. It all goes back into my shows and my video production, guys. I'm not getting rich off this channel by any stretch of the word. And Wanda Mise, again, Kyle, thank you for showing up. And Rich Kozma says an unconstitutional order will not comply. Well, I agree with you, Rich. Absolutely. Joshua Bird, too. End all immunity. Absolutely. Thanks for joining the channel. I hope you guys give me a bunch of ones if you learned some new things tonight that were helpful, that enlighten you. That's my goal is not to get a bunch of likes or a bunch of subscribers. My goal is to educate people and teach people how to become critical thinkers. That's what I want. Please give me a bunch of ones if you feel that you've learned something tonight that's helping you become a better person in life, because that's what I want. I believe that you can have everything in life that you want if you can help other people get what they want. I honestly, strongly believe that. And what the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, guys. Don't short sell yourselves, all right? And make sure to also join Brick Jonesey's channel and give him a bunch of love. He's a super guy, and he's supported me and Chili DeCastro for a long time now. And I really appreciate these loyal citizens who put their country first. And then let's see here. Crowbar Ill, thank you. Thank you for joining me. I hope I didn't miss anybody. C2XU. Digging it, having you guys here. I love, when I start seeing you guys showing up, I remember who you are. And as you become, develop a relationship with me and the other mods, I'll make sure y'all get a wrench. I love giving you guys wrenches. I love seeing people in the sidebar with wrenches because I know that they're like my vetted people who I trust. And Cops are 5150, Semper Fi, Double Dog. That's right, man. Marine Corps all the way, buddy. And in closing, I'll just say this. The reason why Marines are so much different than everyone else, right, all the other branches, is primarily for this reason. You join the Army, you join the Air Force, you join the Coast Guard, you join the Navy, but you become a United States Marine. You become a United States Marine, and it stays with you for life. That's why my friends who have joined the Army, even my Army friends who are in Special Forces now, they have Marine Corps flags in their front lawn and they have Marine Corps bumper stickers on their car. That's legit. That's the truth. That is an absolute fact, because the Marines are a brotherhood. And what I bring to the table for you guys is that brotherhood. And I'm hoping that I can rub off on you, that we can develop parallel systems where we help one another and love one another. And again, I have the michaelehline.com website as well. If you have a Patriot-owned business and you'd like me to promote your business and you're part of Team MPE, reach out to Bzwatchdog or reach out to my michaelehline.com website and send me an email, send me a message, tell me a little bit about your business, and I will create a section on that website to start promoting fellow patriots. And I'm encouraging all of you guys to get off the Target BlackRock system and start supporting each other. That's what we need to do. We need to form parallel systems, homeschool your kids, homestead, grow your own food, get off of all this Marxist garbage where they're trying to put you in 15-minute cities, trying to put stuff in your body that changes your genealogy, or trying to tell your kids that they're a different sex than they were born with. Just crazy nonsense. Take back your freedom, take back your rights by forming parallel systems and start supporting each other. Stop buying into the Marxist-run commie news media and start becoming true Americans once again. Take back your freedoms, take back your country. And so Invisible Woman says 100%. Thanks, Invisible Woman. And Rami says, yep. And wanted me say, all you guys, I love you guys. I'll bet you my son's just coming back from judo right about now. So I'm going to go ahead and call it an evening. So with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe, make sure to save, click that save button and save my videos for later, because you never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. So when I say save my videos for later, I mean like record them, because they've already taken me down once. At some point, the thought police are going to be coming after me, because we're going to become too powerful of a force, and I'm just going to become a martyr like all these other guys. So make sure to like and subscribe, make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. Semper Fi, do or die.